What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs, folks. 2 times in the studio. Welcome back. Justin Waller's in the house.
Very glad to be here.
See, the first time, dude, I didn't really know you much. Hadn't followed you. Didn't know much about you. Then I started following you after I met you. Now I know a little bit more about you.
So now the good questions can come.
Now the good shit can start.
Good.
Folks, if you guys don't know who he is already, Justin Waller, you can find him at Justin Win, just like you do, Win. Waller, Waller 7. Justin Win Waller 7 on Instagram. You said they snaked your YouTube?
Man, they got me. So there was an article that came out, Vice News, basically saying that because I was promoting Andrew's content, The Real World, the world's best online school, by the way, go join, that my YouTube needed to go. So I woke up one morning, no strikes, no warnings, nothing. Never had a strike on the channel, lost it. Not here to talk badly about YouTube. I'm doing everything in my power to get it back. However, that's how I lost it, man. So we got up to 500,000 on one channel and 300 and 200, right at 1 million across 3 channels, lost them all in a day. And so now we just have Instagram and Twitter and Rumble.
Dude, that's fucked up. I mean, I don't know if they, do you think they realize what kind of damage that does?
I don't think that you can put a monetary number on it, honestly. Over the course of a career, being able to talk to the people that follow you on the biggest platform in the world, no, I don't think you can. However, yeah, I don't own the platform. And I think that they can dump you for any reason they want. So here we are.
They can, and they do shut down videos that they don't like, because I had one just deleted.
They do. What was it?
It was a doctor that was basically saying the vid was bullshit.
Yeah.
And I dropped it, and I'd say 3 days, there was 1,000,006 views, which is killer for me. And it was just gone.
You know what I always say? I say free speech is free until you're big enough that somebody can hear you. Yeah. And that was a situation that I think we ran into with, well, certainly that's what Andrew ran into. And this looks like that's what I ran into as well. It's like enough people could hear me, and they saw that I was seeing, or at least supporting something that I didn't like, and it was gone. So here we are.
Well, I also see that you support like blue collar workers.
1,000%. That's
hardworking men.
That's where I'm from, man. I grew up in a trailer park. The only way that we knew how to make doctor money was in boots. And so when I look out across society and I see that a girl that can shake her behind on OnlyFans or Instagram can make more money than the guy that paved the road for me to get here, I think there's an imbalance. I don't have a problem with the girl that's doing OnlyFans. Good for you, girl. Make the money. But if it were up to me, we'd all take a step back, look at society, what's actually valuable, what makes the world go round, what makes the lights possible in here, the plumbing, the guy that picks up the trash, the people that teach our children, the cops, the people that protect us. And we'd reevaluate where the value was in society, particularly in America, and fix it. So yeah, I'm absolutely going to stick up for the working man every day. I know where I came from. It has nothing to do with the suits. Has nothing to do with how much I travel or any amount of money I ever make. We cannot forget the people that make the world go round. And it's really important that somebody stands up for them and speaks for them in regards to the value that they give.
And buy them a beer or something.
Buy them a beer. And it's even more than buy them a beer. Buy them a beer was just kind of a slogan that I thought that made sense at the time. I'd actually just done it the day before. I was in Miami, and I was putting gas in my car, and I walked inside to get something to drink. And there was a gentleman there that very clearly was at the end of a workday, had boots on. He was dirty, sweaty, nasty, and he put a 12-pack up on the counter. He was right in front of me, and I stopped, put my hand on his shoulder, sir, please excuse me, but please let me buy this beer for you. And he did. And then I explained to him why, and I explained to him my background and that I started hanging steel as a kid and ended up growing a steel company. And I just expressed to him my appreciation for what he does every day. And he let me buy the beer. And when I got back, I told the guys that are here with me now, I said, we're going to do a campaign called Buy the Man a Beer. And it's way more than buying them a beer. It's buying them lunch. It's just acknowledging the fact that these individuals, men and women, are the reason that we get to live the life that we live every day. And I think it's very important to not forget those people and put those people on a higher pedestal, because it is those people that in fact make our lives better. It's not even content creators. As much as I appreciate somebody coming up to me telling me that I changed their life, None of that is possible without the people that build the roads, build the buildings, create the electricity in the building that I shoot my content in.
Or fix it when it goes down.
1,000%. And I think that we've lost ourselves in regards to what's actually important.
Yeah, I saw The View, I think it is, the old ladies talking on the show that basically were saying men are pretty much useless now. Which, again, some I would agree, but she was saying in general, like women don't need men anymore. They're somewhat useless. I did a little thing on it. It's like, dude, if there were no men, if we just snapped fingers and there was no men, it would be a matter of time before all the women were done.
It wouldn't be long at all.
They would perish.
It wouldn't be long at all.
And not because they couldn't procreate. That's just one reason. But because, like, again, I mean, I think they underestimate and they undervalue what men actually do.
Well, they've forgotten. And in a lot of ways, I feel bad for women in 2024, particularly because they're being fed this narrative that they can do it alone or that they don't need a man. But primarily, I'd say everything that's wired into a woman does want a family, does probably want a husband, does want to be able to look up to somebody that can protect and provide for her. And these young women are being sold this dream that they're going to be happy without that. And I think that it's pretty clear if you look online and look at the marriage rates or the rates of women that are going to be single and childless, that that's not going to be the case. And I think that should stop, and not because I dislike women, because I think it's wrong. And it's very clear to see that women aren't as happy as you might think they are. They do want a husband. They do want a man that they can look up to and possibly create a family with. And I think that it's very important that somebody give them the permission to be a woman. I would imagine, a guy like you, your wife doesn't work. And if she does, it's because she wants to, but she doesn't. I think most women want that. Truly.
They seem
deep
to.
Inside. But yeah, no shit, right? But at the same time, it's like they're not even allowed to admit that. And I think that's a really big problem because...
But a lot of them do. A lot of them do. Like on my feed, when I say, like one of my clips that went viral, I had maybe 11% female following until this clip. Now I'm like at 39%. And it's because I said, if you have a good woman and she doesn't make enough, and she blows through your money, then you're not making enough money. And that thing went, and the comments like, oh man, a real man. Oh geez, where are all these men? Do you have any brothers? Like, dude, they're looking for guys that have the old school mentality. Now, I just call it masculinity because to me that is masculine. I think a man is supposed to provide and protect for women and children, period.
And you know what? I couldn't agree with you more. And if I evaluate what it is that makes love such a wonderful thing is that you get to do that for a woman. No man wants a woman that he can't save from a castle and a dragon. It's the beautiful thing about love. What would be the purpose of going out and conquering and doing your absolute best if you didn't have anybody to bring it home to? I think that's the most beautiful thing about it. It wouldn't be any fun because honestly, if it weren't for women, you and I, we would just live on a mattress on the floor. We wouldn't care. We'd go work out, do whatever we want to do, drink a beer with the buddies, and there would be no reason to really do it. A lot of the fulfillment that you see in love and in a relationship comes from giving to and taking care of your wife, your kids, your family, and the people that you care about and love. Otherwise, you would just do things that are good for you and just go about your business. So I absolutely agree with you in every way. You get to do these things as a man. You don't have to. It's not simping. You get to do it. And that story is as old as time. You know, they used to write stories that talked about the man being the hero, the man conquering and winning and coming and saving the day. He would come in on a horse and sweep her away. I think that's still real, but I think in a lot of ways, we're telling men that they're simping if they do it, and then we're telling women that they don't need men at all. And that just couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah. Hey, Ben, grab a cup of waters, will you?
I'm sorry.
Hey, so to me, dude, I see a lot of these youngsters out here nowadays. I see them turning towards, let's call it our ways. Like I always keep hearing, oh man, these youngsters nowadays, dude, all the youngsters I see are like the ones rolling with you. Like they all roll up. Oh, dude. Like I think I don't believe the narrative is my point. I don't believe the narrative. I don't think there's a bunch of, I mean, obviously there's still going to be some freaking weirdos out there, but I think the majority of people want traditional roles. I don't believe that all these dudes out there want to be, you know, womanless. And I don't think women want to be manless.
I don't either. Well, I do believe this though. There is a problem that I think mostly it's women that face it. And it's because of social media, just because of hypergamous laws, is they can't seem to become satisfied with the man that they have because there's so much choice out there. So there's guys like me and you with our fancy watches and our podcasts and our businesses, and maybe they see us and they compare the man that they have that is a good, hardworking man doing everything in his power to give her the best life he possibly can. And then she has social media. And so there's nothing he can do to really beat that. I think that's actually probably a problem, especially for keeping relationships together. It's not going to stop, but I do believe it's there. In regards to men.
But that's not a good woman.
Agreed. But also, I believe that I would never put a good woman in a bad position either. So for example, like we talk about on some other shows that I'm not a big fan of girls trips. Well, it's like,
dude,
what?
There's no such thing.
Exactly. Now, a good woman doesn't want to go.
Do you get shit for that?
I get a lot of shit for that. Oh, you're insecure. And so we go back to the old example. You know, I trust the locks on my truck, but that doesn't mean I park it in the ghetto. Why would you put her in that situation? Why would you put her in the atmosphere of those things happening? So I think social media is kind of an indirect explanation of that. Is she might be a great woman, but she is still wired as a woman, and she still is hypergamous in nature at her core. So social media kind of highlights or throws in her face, or at least mentally puts her in the atmosphere of comparing the world to her husband. Whereas where it used to be, like when my parents were growing up, is you might see a handsome man or a man that does well at a grocery store or maybe at an event every now and then, but it's not constantly thrown in your face. And you might see him once and not see him again for 30 years or ever again. Today with social media, I think it's thrown in your face quite a bit.
For sure.
The more popular I get, the more I show up on people's feeds. And I have women message me all of the time.
What are they saying?
They're saying things like what you just said a minute ago. I wish I could find a man like you. I wish more men were like you. And I look at
any pictures.
What do you mean?
Pictures.
Oh, of women? Oh, I get nudes all day. Unsolicited nudes on Instagram.
I don't know why I don't get those.
Unsolicited, complete nudes.
I get a few. The other day I got a raunchy one. It was like, you know, she was showing me a part of her she shouldn't be showing anybody.
I see it all, every crevice, every day. Those boys have access to, I'm going to tell on myself a little bit. So girls might stop sending photos, the ones that see this, but my boys see it. They're like, dude, did you see that? And I'm like, yeah, I saw it. You know, but it happens all day long.
So I must be too old. My wife one time, someone said, dude, you must get a lot of girls send you pictures in your DMs. I said, no, not really. My wife goes, yeah, he does. I said, what are you talking about? No, I don't. She goes, yeah, I do. I just delete them. But like, dude, you can't delete them that fast. I think she was being nice.
Yeah, man, I get them all day long. But the thing,
I almost want to say send me them, but I don't want them.
Yeah.
But I do, but I don't.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like, I want to just so I can feel cool, but I don't, because like, dude, and that's another thing. When it comes to, you know, in my mind, a woman, you know, you send her on a girl's trip, it could be where she is a good woman, but she got drunk, wrong time, wrong situation, and bang.
Yep. Next thing you know, she's doing something she shouldn't be doing. And then you can't put up with it in any way. I think that a lot of men that get cheated on way before the cheating happens. And
that's fact.
That's fact. And they don't see it coming because they don't understand where their line should be. Your line should be way earlier than her even asking you to go on a girl's trip. If your frame is right with a woman, she not only does she not want to go, she would never ask you, ever, because she would know that you have standards. And I think a lot of men forget to put these standards in because society, again, is telling him if he has standards, he's insecure or he's controlling or all of these other things. No, I'm not controlling at all. You can go do what you want to do. I'll let you go. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to call you names. I'm not going to be angry with you, and I'll replace you. But that also comes with having certain standards as a man. And I think it's also very important that the woman knows that you could replace her, even if you don't want to, or even if you don't act on it. She needs to know that you're the kind of person that would walk away. I have a very famous video. Well, it was a very famous video when I had YouTube that me and Tristan did. We talked about the George Strait song, Still Make Cheyenne. And the line, and I get messages every day, or a young man will send me a screenshot of him sending a pin of Cheyenne, Wyoming to a girl, which basically means he's breaking up with her. I'm sorry it's come down to this. There's so much about you I'm going to miss, but it's all right, baby. If I hurry, I can still make Cheyenne. She has to know that you are on your mission. Every man has his own rodeo, no matter what you do. And most women see the man that's chasing his dreams and they jump in front of him. And that's why I don't believe in chasing women. I believe in absorbing women because they want to be a part of what you're doing. And I think the most healthy relationships that are out there are the ones where you are the hero and she does look up to you and you are giving her the life that she could not have lived without you. And that's a beautiful thing, because it just so happens that as a man, that is the most fulfilling thing that you could ever get out of love. And I can tell you that out of personal experience.
Yeah, not to mention, man, they want a guy that freaking has a mission.
Right.
You can't be one of those guys that sits around and all you want to do is serve your girl. Like, if your girl is your number one priority and she knows that, she's going to end up, I think, with a dude that has a mission, that has no interest in her over his mission. And that's what they are attracted to. It's almost like, I don't want to say I can't have him, so I want him, but a little bit of that. A little bit of, oh, he's the one man that's not chasing me. He's chasing who he's going to become. And I want to be a part of that. And that makes you different. And it's not even in a manipulative way. It's really more a matter of fact. You are actually that guy. I had a young man ask me yesterday, he's like, if a girl texts you, do you wait a while to text back? I said, no. I text her back when I'm not actually busy. You actually have to be this person, because anything else, you're manipulating her and she will feel it. Women have that spidey sense. Yeah.
They know. And so you have to actually be that guy and working towards being that guy, because I believe women bet on horses. They look down at the field from the bleachers and they say, which one of those could give me the life that I want? And I think they fall in love with you through respect. You can be tall and you can be handsome and all those things really do help. I believe that. That's true. However, if you're a normal guy, 5'10", 5'11", and you live in Ohio, let's say, but you're on your mission and you're on a path that if somebody got on with you and got behind you and supported you, that woman, that she would have a better life than she could have ever imagined otherwise, I can almost assure you that you have a better shot at a successful relationship than most people in your town. Anybody can live that life. They might not make as much money as guys like us or whatever, but I argue that they could live just as good of a life if they stay on their mission and they stay on their goals and they have the correct frame and understand women and act accordingly. I think that's very real and very possible even now.
Dude, you got a bunch of people subscribing to your newsletter.
I do.
What is this the type of shit you're sending out there? What are you sending every week? Is it weekly?
Yeah, so we send out newsletters, I'd say 2 or 3 times a week, and they're basically just life lessons that I've learned, whether it be in business, development, understanding where you are in the path, etc. That just, when I reflectively look back at basically my 20s, I remember what I was going through at that time. And I just tried to relive it, understand what I was thinking, try to identify the lessons I had learned along the way, any mistakes I'd made, and then just share it. I'm not talking down to them or anything. I'm just really sharing, hey, this is where I was, and this is what I learned from it, and this is what I gathered from it to get in the position that I am now. And I hope it helps you. It's completely free. You can go to my website, justinwinwaller.com, sign up for it. You get the newsletter every week. And it's really helping people. It's really been very beneficial to me. I'd say that the number one thing that I've gotten from coming online, which is almost 3 years now, is that it's probably the most fulfilling work I've ever done. When I build a metal building or I buy a property and a bunch of people are paying me rent, it's very thankless. When I'm walking through the Bellagio this afternoon and I get stopped for 20 photos, that conversation doesn't go like, hey, I saw you in a movie, or hey, I see you play for this sports team. It goes, hey man, you really helped me in my life, and because of you, this, and this happened, and I really appreciate you. And I will tell you, probably 99 out of 100 times it ends up with me hugging this person, because it gives me true joy to actually have the opportunity to be a part of that for somebody's life.
Well, what made you start that? Like, how did that transpire? You were obviously a regular Joe working construction, doing your thing. Next thing you know, you're freaking social media hero.
You know, I'd always wanted to do it. When I would say I was around 27 or 28, and I'd watch like Brandon Carter, Grant Cardone,
or King Keto.
Bro, I love Brandon Carter. Bro, if you don't like Brandon Carter, bro, fuck you.
He's funny.
Brandon Carter.
Dude, that dude's ripped. That dude's, if I could go like that.
Yeah, he looks like a Ninja Turtle.
He's
but it's not just
ripped.
that. It's not just that. Like, if you get to spend some time with Brandon, he's an amazing human being. But I was watching these guys, right? And I believed that that was a career path that I'd really be interested in. And the only reason I didn't start it then is because I knew I would have felt like a hypocrite, because I had not reached my personal goals in my life yet. And I'm really glad I waited. And it really bothered me that I didn't have it in place by the time I was 30. I always say that I set goals at 24 for 30 that I was not qualified to make at 24. So when I got to 30 and I wasn't there, it really bothered me. But what I decided to do was wait until I had hit the goals that I wanted to hit in my business, and I had kind of gone through all the different categories of being a man, and I felt comfortable with myself fully. And I knew that I'd done the work I had to do to be in a position to turn around and teach. And that's why I think my first video didn't go out until I was 35 years old. And I decided to make the decision to do it. And I was good friends with Sterling Cooper, because we're both in the war room. And I'd met Rolo and Fresh and Fit and Myron. I'd have made my first 2 or 3 videos. And Walt and Myron gave me a chance to go on Fresh and Fit. And obviously Andrew grabbed me and he set me down. He's like, listen, I know you're going to do this. I think you're going to kill it. Come help me. And so the culmination of those things happening really gave me a boost. And to be quite honest with you, I think I've been able to grow it so quickly because I waited, because I built a real business in the real world. So when I met these guys in real life, they were like, no, this guy's legit. I do think he's going to do well anyway. Let's put him on the show now. And so in the beginning, when I was doing those Fresh and Fits, or like even pretty early, you gave me a shot, which I really appreciate, by the way, it helped grow me. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I had already done the 15 years of work on myself and built the business. I was over 10 years, over a decade in my business when I started doing this, well over. And me waiting allowed me to become the person I really needed to be anyway, to take off and do these types of things. And I think that's a little bit uncommon, but I also at the same time think it was my greatest asset when I got started.
Do you think that built the confidence?
Yeah, because I knew who I was. I had scars from doing business. I should have failed a million times. I was having to refinance my houses to make payroll. I got down $1 million one year, and it was one of the darkest places I've ever been, because my whole identity was around being like this Dookie Howser of the metal building world. And I was about to go bankrupt. All my heroes were going to find out. Everybody I looked up to, all my mentors, because I was the youngest board member on the Metal Building Contractors Directors Association.
Well, you know, most, wealthy people go broke 3 times.
Yeah. But you know what though? It's funny you say that, because even though you know that, when it's happening to you, you still feel like you're the one that's like super messed up. And I actually have a story about that. I went to one of my mentors, his name's Mike Reynolds, Systems Contractors, Colorado. He's one of those guys that are super rich, did really well, but he's in an industry, so nobody would know his name unless you were in that world, right? I pulled him aside at a conference. I'll never forget. I think we're in San Diego. And I said, Mike, I think I'm about to go bankrupt. He looked at me for like a second and he started laughing. He says, son, if you don't think you're going to go bankrupt about every 4 years, you ain't doing shit anyway. He slapped me on the shoulder and walked away, and I just stood there. And I had a weight come off of me like nothing I would have ever imagined, because I felt like in that moment I was one of them. You know, like he really, even though it was not uplifting advice, it kind of set me free from, I guess I was having a little self-hate over it, because, you know, I'm like, how could I have let this happen? I must have been slacking. I wasn't working hard enough. This is all my fault. And it set me free in a lot of ways. And it was not the advice I expected to get, but it was the advice I needed. And after that, I picked the bootstraps up. I restructured a lot of things in the business. And honestly, we've been printing money ever since. I don't say that in an arrogant way. I really got punched in the face a lot. Like, steel is not an easy business. Commercial construction is hard. Being a subcontractor is hard. You know, you have guys all over the country. And let's face it, a lot of them don't want to do. Nobody grows up saying, I want to be on a 120-degree roof in South Texas or South Louisiana or anywhere, you know. And I was having a hard time making it all come together around scaling, because it was so spread out. I couldn't touch every job every day anymore. I had project managers that had responsibilities, but they had their own problems. I had estimators that might miss a bid or whatever it was. Money's slow. Then you have retention. And then if the guys make a mistake, it can make it even worse. So there were like all these factors there. But when he told me that, it really set me free. It almost revitalized me in some way. And I didn't expect it, but he laughed in my face. And to this day, I talk about Mike all the time. Is he really helped me in that moment, because I was really down. And in a lot of ways, he was probably one of the number one people that I would have been embarrassed to have found out that I did go bankrupt. And what he made me realize in that moment as well is that if that would have happened, instead of going another direction, fighting a different fight, I would have started that exact same business tomorrow. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make. They go to fail in a business that they worked, let's say, 3 to 5 years to build. But instead of getting back in that same fight, just like boxing, you fighting a guy and you take the jab, and then you slip the jab and you get the cross, whatever. But then eventually he knocks you down. Well, if you don't get up and go face that same fight again, if you go fight a southpaw per se, a different industry, you're going to take all those beginner's punches in a different industry. It doesn't get easier when you change many times. So the one thing I do think I did right in my career is I chose to stay in the same fight long enough to roll on top and get my licks in. And I did that. And maybe it's not the best business model that would have made me hundreds of millions of dollars. It's hanging steel. It's not scalable in that way. But it is the thing that set me free to be able to fly all over the world when I was finally ready, being a multimillionaire at that point, confident enough to be able to walk into the room and be confident in myself and what I'd done and building America and doing these things that matter, and not have to worry about what would have happened if I would have gone a different route, because I stayed in the same game. I finally won, and that put me in a position to be confident enough, proud of myself enough to speak up and talk to people. With that, I would say this, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. I think there's a bigger gap between 0 to 1 million net worth than there is between 1 million to 10, as far as changing your life.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like, for damn sure. Like, most people need to replay that, listen again, but that is a fact.
It's a fact, because, like, if you think about your life, even now, me flying first class somewhere versus flying private, which I've done multiple times and paid for, doesn't make that much of a difference to me. I'll tell you what makes a bigger difference to me than that is knowing I can go to dinner. And this is a 0 to $1 million thing, right? I know I can go to dinner anywhere at any time with bring as many people as you want, and I can cover the bill and not look back. I know that I can go in any store and buy pretty much whatever I want and not look back. I know that if my kids need something, I don't care what it is, do it. Those are the 0 to 1 million things. Then I meet guys, let's say like you or like Keaton or Andrew or whoever, and your consciousness gets bigger. Maybe you start to have a taste for things like a Lamborghini, which I had never had before. And you realize, okay, because I wasn't a car guy when I bought my car. Now that I have it, okay, I get it. It's fun. But is the happiness better than the transition I made from really worrying about being able to go anywhere and eat with the people that I loved and cared about, bigger than the car? No. Being able to take care of the people I love and care for without having to worry about it is substantially more happiness for me
100%.
than that car will ever give me. Ever. And I think people really get that fucked up.
They do.
Really
and again,
bad.
if you're a car guy, it makes sense. But like, and I would call myself a car guy, but not really, meaning I don't have enough garage space. Like, what do you do with all those cars?
Exactly.
You know,
You
Andy
have to love them
Frisella.
like that. You have to love them like that.
You know Andy Frisella?
I do.
You've been to his house?
I haven't.
Well, go look at his he built a garage. So like, if I had a garage like that, I'd be buying some cars. But like, dude, I got a couple of nice cars, but I'm more into trucks anyway. Like,
I'm a truck guy.
I have a TRX and the Raptor R.
Yeah.
And if I had to pick one, like, period, I'm taking a truck over a car.
1,000%. I tell people all the time. It's like, I'll never sell my truck.
But dude, what you're saying is massively, I was taking it the other way when you first said it. And now that you're saying it, I see what you're saying, and you're correct there too.
Yeah.
I thought like the gap between 1 or 0 to 1 million in people, like, in other words, if you can just get there, I think getting from 1 million to 10 million is much easier.
I do too. But the argument I'm making for the people that think that
It's so great up here.
it is nice.
Yeah. But I mean, dude, I'm telling you, I know what you're saying, and that is correct. I would agree 1,000%.
Yeah.
I thought you were going the other way with that, which is also true. But now that you said that, I get more enjoyment. It's funny too, because the other day I looked at a buddy of mine and I said, because my little girls ran into a store and they said, "What do you, can I?" And I said, "Get whatever you want."
Right.
And then I thought to myself, dude, there were times where like I couldn't have done that, and that means more to
you
me.
didn't know. You're like, oh shit. Swiping the card.
Many times, bro.
Me too.
Yeah, and like to know that anything you need, anything you want, go get anything you want. Walk into a restaurant, anything you want. Like, I can have anything I want. That's all within 0 to 1 million, and that means more to me than anything from 1 million to 10.
Exactly.
Because like, I ordered a 296 GTS. So what? Everyone's like, why don't you get the SF90? And now everybody fucking, thanks to Tate, you got to have a Bugatti now. Well,
Right. Or you had to have 20 of them.
Yeah, you
have to have
have
20 of them.
Come on, man.
And
Shit.
look,
I just got my second Ferrari, which, by the way, I kind of felt like I don't really want it, but I was, closed at the dealership because, man, these are, you got to order them. You got to get ready. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'll take it.
Right.
Now that it's coming, dude, I mean, one Ferrari's enough.
And you know what could teach you a lot about that is like, I buy black t-shirts from Walmart. And one thing that I know is that I could see a Gucci black t-shirt today when I go back to the hotel on the way. But I'm not going to wear it, even if I buy it.
Why?
Because I'm that guy, and I bet you're a lot like this. If I like a shirt, I'll buy 20 of them because I want to wear it all the time. That's the one I like. And I kind of feel the same way about cars. If I get to a point with my car that I want to try something else, I'll probably just trade the damn car in because I know that if I like that other car more than my car, I'm going to drive the other one every day. And this is kind of how I look at it. I'm not a car guy, but just for example, it's like sometimes you get so much abundance. One thing I know about Andrew, he didn't drive all his damn cars. He buys them and they're decorations in his driveway, or he stocks them up or he's holding them for whatever reason. But you can't drive all those cars. I think he has like over 50. Yeah, but what are you going to do with them?
Well, and I don't know him, so I don't know how much money he has. But what he insinuates is he has a shitload. And if you hear about just a real world membership, he's making some serious coin. But if he has as much as he insinuates, dude, you get to a point where like you got to do something.
Well, there's nothing you can buy to make you happy anymore. I think most of the things that you can buy to be happy are 0 to 1 million.
Yeah,
truly, I really believe that.
Or maybe a couple million, but yeah,
a couple million.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm looking for a lake house.
Right.
I can't find it. There's everything I look at's like not it. I'll show you a picture after the show and I'll say, that's what I'm looking for. But where is it? And then when you finally get it, it's like, shit, no wonder they're not out there. They're freaking rare.
But you know what I'd argue is that your consciousness around wanting that lake house only came after you had gone through all those other things. And then you recognize that you might want something extra. I don't think it's going to change your happiness very much.
I do though.
Why?
Because of going every summer to the lake house with my little family. I got a little family.
Yeah.
I mean, I got 7 kids, but 4 of them are adults, which with their own family. So I mean, they can all come.
You're still granddad.
Yeah, but they can come like once, twice a year, and that's great. But like, I have a little brand new family as if I'm fucking 30. You know, I have a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
I have a 9-year-old. I have an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
So I would just love to have an unbelievable little lake community to go bring them every year for summer and just literally chill in 80-degree weather with a lake right there and the boats and the jet skis and their friends and the campfires and the shit that would entail.
Right.
So like that would make me happy.
Right.
But I also don't want to go up there and live in a beat up old cabin either.
I get it. I get it completely. Have you ever gone through a phase where you're like, I would be okay RVing across the country?
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely want to do that phase in my life. Not that I'm going to sell everything, but maybe go off of social media for a couple of years and like take my kids through the most beautiful parts of Europe in an RV and, you know, homeschool them and do that kind of stuff. Like those types of things to me are where most of the happiness is really going to be. It won't be me flexing on the internet for sure.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, you ever almost die?
Yes.
So, I mean, like when you think about like literally dying and you might die, you're not thinking about money. You're not thinking about car collections. Yeah. You're not thinking about shit, but family.
Right.
And that's what told me a long time ago, like, dude, all this is fun. I got to admit, it's fun.
A blast.
It is nice. But at the end of the day, when the shit hits the fan, it ain't about anything that has to do with that. It has to do with relationships, you know, family.
But even if you go back to what you're saying right now, the fun is climbing. The fun is the distance between where you were then and where you are now, and then the excitement about where you're going to go. So to me, it was fun climbing. And I always say that success is a 2-way street. It's climbing the mountain and then looking for other mountains to climb once you get to the top. Because the most dangerous thing that could ever happen to you is that you get to the top of a mountain with nowhere to go, because you have nothing left to do but self-sabotage yourself back down that mountain that you just climbed in order to climb again and get to the top. And so for you,
I think that's where I'm at.
Or even me. Well, no,
I'm chilling, dude. I need a fucking mountain to climb.
That's dangerous.
I know.
That's dangerous, especially with money. Because and I've gone through this. I had this moment in my construction company where I was like I had slacks on and a button up, and I knew I didn't have to go to work. Like I had figured it out. It was a machine. It's running, right? And I knew whether I showed up for work or not, I was going to make the same amount of money. And it was a lot of money. And it scared me. It really, really did. And I didn't realize it in that moment, but I felt very empty. And I just felt like, well, I guess I need to go do something degenerate. You know, I need to go finally have fun or whatever it is. But that doesn't make you happy. In fact, it just kind of wrecks you in a way. And so I think one of the hardest parts, and that's why I say it's a part of success, is trying to find that consciousness, that thing that you can get excited to jump out of bed for again. And I would argue that that's the most dangerous part past those first few million, is because you have all this money, you have all this freedom all of a sudden, and you don't have a passion. And then it becomes exponentially harder to get excited about what that next thing is going to be, because you have all of these things that are, in my opinion, 90% of your happiness taken care of. So, you know, I guess you could have legacy after that. You could have children after that. But let's face it, man, no man wants to sit at home and raise his kids all day. He wants to be on a journey, on a mission, conquering, doing these things. And I think the second mountain you climb, particularly picking it, is very difficult, more difficult than choosing the first one and climbing the first one in a lot of ways.
Especially if you're a late bloomer like me.
Were you?
Fuck yeah.
When do you think you bloomed?
40.
Really? How old are you now?
55.
Wow. You look good, bro.
Thank you. 55 though, that's fucking like, that sounds old even to me, and I'm 55. Like I'm thinking 55, shit. Like, dude, I'm done. It's over. People are like, no, dude, 55 is the new freaking 40. Whatever, dude. In 10 years, I'll be 60 fucking 5. How old will you be in 10 years?
I'll be 48. I'm 38 now.
Yeah, see? Like, dude, you're
I'm in prime.
Yeah, you're fucking rolling.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, dude, I missed that shit. Yeah. I wasn't like this then. I should have been rolling then. Then I was fucking struggling, learning everything.
What do you think it was? Did you start late?
Well, I started at 30.
Yeah, I mean,
and I was ahead of my time, dude. I invented a technology that was 10 years ahead of itself, meaning for 10 years, dude, nobody thought I would do shit with it, and no one even knew what it was, and no one even thought it would happen. And now it's $500 billion industry. And you can look back, try to find someone that was doing it before I was, and you'll be like, fuck, dude, that almost means you started the whole damn thing. And I'm like, sometimes I sit back and I think, I kind of did.
Right.
So like this whole online learning, and, I don't care whether you're a college or a business or just online training, dude, go back and look. And, 1999, I had a full motion interactive training technology. Nobody had one.
What were you doing in your 20s?
Running car dealerships and selling shit, art, hustling, thought I was cool. Yeah. But I didn't have the integrity. I didn't have the ethics. I didn't have the, you know what I mean?
What makes you feel like you were missing them then?
I would probably just say, my dad kicked me out when I was 16. Didn't get a lot of parenting growing up. Yeah. Nobody strong in my life to freaking, teach me anything. So I had to go kind of learn it the hard way. So it took me a while, and I was immature too. Still am a little bit. Like right now I feel 30. I can go hang out with my wife's 35. I can go hang out with 30-year-olds. And I think we're all the fucking same. Like I think me and you are the same age. Right. I literally do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm not. And it's weird. And hopefully I'll never, I'm glad I do. I think that's why I still look a little bit young, and I still act young, and I still feel young. I don't have any injuries. I don't have any pains. I'm not on any medication. I'm not old by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But chronologically, I'm 55. And the reason I think it took so long to get going is because, I was just stupid for the longest time. That's why I try to turn around and tell these youngsters, like, dude, people always say, what would you do if you could go back to 20? Number one, I'd start reading books. I didn't read shit till I was about 45. I'd start reading books, man. The self-help books, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends, As a Man Thinketh, all of these books on psychiatry, so many different books that have information. If I would have just got that information earlier, I think I would have freaking blew up quicker.
Yeah, but
there was no internet, dude.
And that was the point I was about to make, is that I have to defend you here, because I just did a post about this, and it was called something around the lines of like, be graceful with your father, because there's a lot of these young men out there right now that have information that their father didn't have. So you might think you want to be this big shot entrepreneur, do all these things, and you don't understand why your dad worked in that plant for 20 years and he didn't want more for his life. Well, listen here, young man, you have information that your father did not have. And so you need to be graceful with him and everything that he did to put you in a position to even have that fucking cell phone, to be able to watch Dropping Bombs or any podcast about anything personal development, because the information you have, he could have never dreamed of having.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of that.
No, there wasn't any of it at all.
You had to listen to cassette tapes, and you wouldn't even know they exist unless you went to some self-help guru seminar.
Yeah, from a commercial you saw in the middle of the night.
Which I never saw. My dad never saw. My dad was a blue collar worker.
So was mom. My dad farmed cotton.
He went through a little entrepreneurial phase. He had a little newspaper, a pizza parlor, a tavern, and some guy got drunk at the tavern, went out and crashed on a motorcycle, sued my dad and uncle. My uncle just had let the insurance lapse because he didn't want to pay the bill, and boom, knocked my dad's ass right out from under him. Went right back to the mill, never freaking tried again.
Man, that's crazy.
But hey, you know what? I always look at it like, I think that's part of what makes me, resilient.
Yeah. I think resilience is the answer. Just like we were talking downstairs. It's like you can teach people skills, and those skills do add value. I remember going to events, and the only goal I had was to take one thing with me that I could have with me the rest of my life. And so those events and all the money that I spent on self-help, which is at this point definitely 7 figures, was great. But the number one thing I believe that makes you successful is not those things. It's the ability to get up and do it again and again and again and again. And without that muscle in you, that actually wanting it so bad that you'll do it again, it doesn't matter what you know, because you won't use it, or you'll say I failed. And a lot of people, I don't even think they want to win as badly as they say they do. They want to say they tried and something got in their way, and for that reason they didn't do it again. But I don't think that's true. I think that if you continue to get up again and again and again, it's just inevitable that you'll succeed. It's not possible to fail if you have that muscle in you that continues to push. No matter how many times you fail, eventually you'll win.
Well, when you were 20, did you see where you were going to be at 38?
No, I couldn't see it. Not like it is now. Not like it is now. And I would say that.
Do you think you would have accelerated had you been able to see it?
I got started right away. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad my junior year. We're on the way to play Arkansas, and I wanted to.
Junior in high school or college?
College. We're on the way to play Arkansas, and they had like Darren McFadden and Felix Jones and all these other things. I'm like, okay, well, I'll distract myself, not think about the game, read this book. And I read the book, and I remember telling my roommate in the room that night, his name's Zeke Zachary, he was getting lined up. All the guys on the team would line each other up around their braids and whatever. They do that every night before a game. There's a guy, he'd go around. And I told Zeke why he was getting lined up. I said, Zeke, I'm gonna own a business one day. And I just read that book. And he's like, okay, cool. And he never even looked at me because like the guy was doing his lines. And he called me, not even 6 months ago. And he's like, I remember when you said that. But I remember saying it then, but not knowing what it meant. I graduated college in 2009, so I couldn't get a job. It was very hard to get a job. And so I there's this big story I have about how I did that and started my business at 24. And even then, I don't think I had the vision of what I became, but I also believe that changes as you develop. I always say the gap between the formula for happiness is the gap between expectation and reality. But I also think that's constantly moving. I believe that as you develop and grow, your expectation and your consciousness also gets bigger. And so you're constantly chasing it. And that's why I do think it's so important to look back from where you've come, how far you've climbed up a mountain. Because if you don't, I believe that you can find yourself in a place where nothing you do is good enough. And I suffer from that. No matter what I do, it's not good enough unless I look backwards. So I'm not a big pusher of gratitude, but I do think it makes a lot of sense to look back just to understand how far you've come.
Yeah, well, I'm a big pusher of gratitude. I think that's my advantage now, because I think it shifts your perspective, and I think it's all about perspective. When I was, your age, I was struggling. Matter of fact, I don't even think I hit $1 million till about 38, but it was $1 million in the business. That's a different.
That was a revenue number?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's different.
Big difference, yeah.
Big difference, dude. Yeah. I was still fucking, stealing Peter to pay Paul. But I would rather be 38 and 10 million than 55 and 80 million.
I agree.
So like a lot of people are out there, they're looking up to like, all these guys, and it's like, wait a minute, dude, there's some value to being youthful. Okay, so like there's a lot of these dudes out there that just, they feel depressed because they're comparing themselves to everybody else.
50, 60-year-old man.
Yeah, it's like, dude, trust me. There's like, I personally still feel young, so it might not be me, but I know people that are like broke down, old, but they're rich. They would fucking give all their money to be fucking 25, 30 years old again.
I tell you, me and the boys joke about this all the time. It's like, it's one thing to have a supercar in Miami at 50, 55. It's a whole nother thing to be in your 20s or 30s, probably 30s, but it's completely different.
Yeah, if I could pick an age, I'd say probably fucking 35.
Yeah, 35 is a sweet spot to be.
35 to 40 was the freaking window, but I missed it,
man. I'm in it.
I was struggling, dog.
But I'm gonna tell you,
I wasn't rolling around all dapper.
Yeah. Well, look, man. There's also a lot of temptation in it. Yeah.
Well, you're more than a man than I am for handling it.
Well, I think
because I'd have been partaken, and maybe that's why. I don't know. Do you believe in God? Maybe God said, "Hey, son, we want you alive for a while, so I'm not going to give you none of that."
JC put the brakes on you hard. I think for me, it's like pick your poison and never let the fun get in the way of the work. And if you do, and you have any kind of internal voice, it'll tap on your shoulder. So that voice that haunts me is, I truly believe, the one that makes you great. And that voice is actually the one I'm most afraid to lose. If I were to get to a point where I just did whatever I wanted at any time, it would scare the shit out of me. It really would, because it's the same reason I don't try cocaine. I would imagine that I'd love cocaine.
You would.
The problem is, Brad, is that I have a lot of freedom, time, and money, and I just don't want to fuck around and find out. I don't.
Well, then stay away from it, brother, because that shit will fuck you up eventually.
Right, and that's my fear.
Do you cold plunge?
No, not really.
Okay,
no, I do cold shower though every day.
Because they say cold plunge is like doing coke. Some dude told me, so I got a cold plunge, and I'm like,
I have one. I've just never done it.
I called him and said, "You've never done coke, bro," because it ain't the same. I tell a story. One time I was freaking, smoking crack for 3 days straight.
No shit, really,
dude. That shit'll get you if you let it. And I'm not even addictive. That shit will. If you're addictive, dude, boom, you'll go down for sure. I've never seen anybody successfully navigate coke.
I don't want to know.
Don't do it.
Women's
not only that. It's fucking uncool. To me, dude. Listen, when I look back, I have all the regrets. Man, I wish I would have. But dude, I would have. If I found a wallet with, let's say, $5,000 in it, I would have fucking took the $5,000 and threw the wallet away.
Yeah,
that's what I would have done. But now, if I found a wallet with $5,000 in it, I'd fucking figure out who the owner is and give it back.
Right.
Well, that's because you have money now, Brad. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you can say that for everybody that has money.
Well, I'm just saying maybe, because I don't know, because I fully admit I would have before found a wallet. Hey, fucking $5,000, threw the wallet down. Fucking, I need this $5,000. Now I would give it back, but maybe it's because I got money. I don't know. Am I ethical, or did I just not? Maybe I changed my circumstances. I think I'm ethical. Why? Because I think that's an inside thing. Yeah. You know what I
mean? When you do things like that, kind things, I genuinely believe in some way they're also selfish. For example, if you'd have took that money, you still would have had to hold the weight of knowing that you did the wrong thing. And I think that cost you. And I think people don't account for that when they do bad things to people, or they do things that they know they shouldn't be doing, is they don't account for the fact that your soul has to carry it. You know that you should have found that guy and gave the $5,000 away.
So, now where'd you learn that?
Bro, it's just, I just had to talk about this. Like, I believe in karma, but only in the sense of what internally you think you have coming to you. Does that make sense? So I don't believe that if you do bad things, that something is automatically for the universe going to come happen to you. I believe what happens is that you did something and you deserve something bad to happen to you as a response to what you did in the world. That's what I genuinely believe. So for me to sleep good at night, knowing good things only are coming to me, I have to act in accordance with not putting anything that would hold guilt on my soul. And that's why I choose to do good things. I could sit here and be like, oh, I'm a Boy Scout. I'm such a good guy. I would have gave the $5,000 back. Yeah, kind of. But at the same time, it's really because I don't want to hold that $5,000 on my heart and not ever be able to find that guy again and pay him back. That's why. Truly.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't have. I'd have said 5 G's. I need that.
I think deep inside you would know.
Did you have, so who were your parents? Where are they at?
Don't know where my mom is. My dad is in South Louisiana. I just got to pay his house off last year. So I know exactly where he is.
That feels good.
Bro. It is probably one of the best days of my life.
But I mean, did he instill some freaking wisdom in you? Or?
I wasn't around him very much.
Where'd you learn all your shit?
I had a pretty ugly childhood, actually.
Where'd you learn like all these things just on your own?
Well, so like, I think a lot of people either become a result of their atmosphere or decide they don't want to be anything like it and go completely the other direction. And that's what I did. So there was a lot of violence in my house growing up. There was a lot of screaming and yelling. My dad wasn't really around. They went through 12 custody courts. They were going to put us in a foster home. And I saw what was going on, and I saw the path that my classmates would have taken after high school, which would have been essentially going to work at ExxonMobil on Mississippi River in Baton Rouge or some plant there. And I didn't want it. I didn't want it. So have you ever seen the movie October Skies?
Maybe a long time
It's about
ago.
like this coal mining town. The kid wants to be an astronaut. He just wants to leave. He doesn't want to end up in those coal mills. And the plants in South Louisiana, as important as they are, and as good of money as people make for that area in that place, it's just not what I wanted for my life. And I certainly didn't want the life that I grew up in. So I used sports to get out of my hometown to go to college and play football, because at the time a college education was the pinnacle of what you could possibly do as far as what I knew from a conscious perspective. And nobody in my family had ever done it. So that's what I went and did. And then I'd read that book and I knew I wanted to have some sort of business. And I was actually lucky enough to graduate in 2009 in the middle of this recession, where I didn't get locked into some sort of 6-figure high paying job in Dallas as a project manager for somebody. And so I had to start my own business. And I had always wanted to do that, but I'm so lucky that I did not have an abundance of job choices, because I think I would have probably gotten stuck there for a while, or I would have let life creep get me. But instead I started that business early, and it took me over a decade to build it and get it really running. And I just thank God that I didn't wait till I was 30, because not only would I be building that business right now, I would be in a business that, to be quite honest with you, I don't think that I'm actually in love with. I was in love with the entrepreneurial journey more than I was construction.
You still have business?
Oh yeah, I have it.
So that it just
Runs like
you?
a fucking clock, man.
Because I never see you doing any business.
I know.
All I see is you traveling the world, hanging out with Andrew and Tristan and freaking, and you're not even always with them, but you're somewhere, always doing something. I'm always wondering, what the fuck is this guy doing over there? Like, what are you doing when you're in Greece and shit?
So mostly I'm doing podcasts and things like that. Like,
why would you go to Greece to do a podcast?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I didn't do a podcast in Greece, but I bought 4 mobile home parks last year with an investor that has a place in Greece. And I told him I'd come see him, and he gave me $1 million to put into this deal. So I kept my word, and I went and I spent time with that investor. See, I have over 400.
Well, that ain't a sucky place to go.
Oh, bro, it was incredible, man. I've never been, man. It's something else. But I have over 400 doors in real estate. I think we have like 9 trailer parks. I don't know, really big. I was a 64 unit apartment building, a bunch of single family, some commercial property. So I have a lot of real estate. But what I became good at in the process of building my construction business, because I got so much coaching and I paid for so much consulting to help me, I got pretty good at building a business. And so since then, I build my businesses and we put all the systems in place. I mean, we do the same thing with social media. And you know, I just build my businesses every day. And you know this, as your career progresses, you go through seasons. I used to wake up at 4 a.m. all the time. Now I wake up when I feel rested, which is normally 8. And I spend 4 or 5 hours almost in complete silence, either listening to a book or thinking about all the chess moves that need to move on the board. And then I start making phone calls. And then of course, in that we have our weekly, monthly, quarterly meetings. I get my daily reports for each business each day. So those things are still coming in, and then we address things as they come. But now I just build my businesses and spend time with the people that are running them. You know, I think that people forget how important it is to be close to the people that you work with. And so it's nothing for me. If you see me in Miami, there is a strong, or see me anywhere, there's a strong possibility that somebody that works very close to me in one of my businesses is with me, because I take them on vacation. I spend loads of money spending time with them. I learned this from Nick Saban. I'll never forget it. He said, I spend time every day with 6 players, 3 that are in trouble and 3 that are not in trouble yet. And the reason I do that is because I know that when the 3 that are not in trouble yet do find themselves in trouble, they need to know and remember that I love them. And so I spend a lot of time with my people. I spend a lot of money on dinners, lunches, vacations, flying them to me, spending time together, working on the business, or not talking about business at all. And as my career has developed, my role has developed. I went through this phase where I felt very guilty because my work was no longer associated with pain or getting in a forklift or pulling a trailer or getting my hand cut on some steel, to being on the phone a lot, networking internally with my own people, and then outwardly networking. It took me a minute to get over that, actually. I had a lot of guilt over that. And that's actually been quite recent, the last few years. But I have to tell you, it's been a transition that's really paid me, to be honest, and that I quite enjoy far more than I obviously used to enjoy what I did in the past.
Well, I see you on stages. You're starting to freaking, get out there as a guru. Like why you feel the need to give back to these youngsters or the people that you're helping?
I get a lot of fulfillment from it. It means the world to me. Like I said before, the things that I do now, if I put a building up on time, let's say, the customer doesn't call me and say, you did a great job. They pay me, they hold my retention for 2 years, and they ask me to bid another job. Yeah, construction and real estate is not impactful directly the same way that this space is.
I always wonder why people that know construction don't build their own real estate.
They do.
Like, not build their own real estate. In other words, why do you sell it? Like, just build it and then keep it.
I do keep it. I love
build shit and keep shit?
Well, so we're a large subcontractor for GCs. So if let's say a town is going to build a new Amazon building, and Amazon's the customer, the architect will come out and he'll send the drawings to the general contractors he chooses. Let's say there's 10 of them. Well, I'll probably bid the steel package to all 10 of those general contractors. Then the job is over. We made whatever amount of money we made off the project. And then we go to the next one and the next one. And, I have like 200 men. So we're doing buildings from California to New York to the Caymans, everywhere. And we're just doing these projects for these independent owners all over the place. But that's actually where I learned the food chain. When I would be on a construction job and the investor would come out or the owner would come out to a subcontractor meeting. And it started to really dawn on me, especially after I started studying real estate. I actually think that's what nudged me to start studying real estate so deeply, is I was way further down on the food chain than I thought I was. I thought I was the boss, the guy signing the checks, and then the GC was just above me. No, not at all. Above me was the GC, and above the GC was the architect, and then the owner's rep for the architect, then the owner, and then possibly even an investor. I just closed a land deal the other day. I gave a guy $700,000, and he's writing me a check for $1,069,000. He's going to wire it to me next week. I was the investor on that deal. I'm going to clear $300 on it, and then I'm going to take the $300 in 1031 exchange into a mobile home park I'm closing on next month in Ohio.
How do you know if it's a good one?
How do I know if the mobile home park's good? Because I studied how to underwrite real estate for 10 years.
Yeah, see, is that what you're teaching at your school community?
Not yet. We're not teaching real estate yet.
What are you teaching?
But I do have a course coming out with Chris Rude and Allies, and we are in Nashville, Tennessee.
I saw that. When are you going to be there?
On the 19th and the 20th.
July? June.
Yeah.
I might come down for that. I got a house there, you know.
I'd love to see you.
I got my T-Rex down there, my TRX, and I just had it wrapped and dialed in, and now
What
it's
color?
like satin black.
That's sick.
Like a matte black.
That's sick. Batman with the truck.
But
Can I do one more water?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ben, grab more water.
That
more
muscle
water.
milk got me.
Dude, so is that what you're going to be teaching your school community eventually?
So what we're teaching our school community is going to be more about how to, create the buckets in your life, create the vision you want for your life, and do the things on a daily basis that get you in that direction. From there, I'm going to be doing separate courses on real estate and construction for those that want to get into it. But the school community is a group of people that just want to come together and create a better life for themselves, identify the vision for who they want to become. And then we gradiently help them on a daily basis to make sure they stay on track towards that vision. And then they're constantly coming back to that vision and possibly rewriting it and calibrating in a way that really lines up with who they are as they grow. So I'm really excited about the school community.
Where do people see that at?
Yeah, just message me on Instagram, Justin Wynn Waller 7 on Instagram, and we'll get you hooked up. We'll get you in there. I actually spent 8 hours at Alex Hermosi's office yesterday, going through all the different functionalities of school. Great guy, really cool place. That building's really nice, really nice place.
He's a smart son of a bitch too,
bro. Alex is shit, man. He's cool.
Oh, Alex Hormozy. Yeah. Shout out to old Alex and
he
Layla.
Ain't doing bad, is he?
Huh?
He ain't doing bad, is he?
No, he's doing good, man. You know what's funny is he almost went broke too. You've heard his story?
I have heard that story where he was having issues even taking payments and things like that.
No, dude, like he was doing deals with people where basically they just refund on the credit card.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a credit card thing. Yeah.
And so like he was literally broke.
Yeah.
And he said, fuck, let me scale this up and license it. So again, I mean, folks, for everybody listening out there, all the people you think are your heroes, dude, they've all had bad times. I always feel bad for listeners that are like, how do I get where these guys are? How do people get where you are? They want to do it, but they just won't join your community. They won't subscribe to your newsletter. They won't read the book you talked about reading. They won't go start a business. They, for some reason, have no nerve. And I don't get that. I just don't get it.
I don't either, man.
I've always had nerve.
And to be honest, I think that there's a lot of people right now. So you have like accounts like Baller Busters, which I think are necessary in all fairness.
By the way, that account's gone.
I know. I have an idea who I think did it, but nonetheless, I got so much out of the money I spent paying other people, influencers, gurus, all these things to help me put together the things that it took for me to build my business.
The business or the brand?
The business, like on the way.
Because most people won't do that.
Because they think that they're getting scammed.
Yeah.
You're not getting scammed. There's no person that's going to build a business, become successful, and decide to teach it, and then not show you the things that they used to grow the business. That'd be foolish. I don't think there's a person out there, no matter who it is, that's teaching you how to do something that actually grew a business, as long as they actually grew a business, that doesn't want to see you succeed. I do think there's a large cohort of people that watched a course and regurgitated it, particularly the really young ones. I kind of tend to believe that, if they're sub 30, I'm like, we probably should look into it. Not that they couldn't achieve it, but I'm a little bit more wary of them. But in regards to the money that I spent and the time that I spent going to Business Mastery, paying E-Myth, reading all Patrick Lencioni's books, reading Robert E. Gerber's books, I've read all of these books and still read them to this day. Like I'm picking up new ones all the time. Traction, all the EOS material.
Gino Wickman.
Gino, yeah. Yeah, like
they got a company too. You can hire them to come consult.
Oh, we use them. We run EOS. Yeah. I have an implementer that sits over all of my implementers. So my structure is actually a little different in EOS. And normally you own a business and then you have a visionary CEO and then you have an implementer. Well, I have an implementer in every business. I've now hired an integrator over all those businesses. Shout out Zach, to help me.
Zach Zekri?
No. It's a different guy. He's an EOS implementer, and he helps me because I'm always traveling, always trying to, get the word out, going out there, meeting, doing the podcast, doing all these different things. But he helps me integrate with my integrators. And so that was one of the steps, is like, I went from a single org board to looking at everything I do as an overall org board that I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of help, plenty of backup in. And as my budget grew, I was able to slide that in, along with, we're actually looking at hiring a CFO now to help in all these different areas, because it gets to a point where it's going to take a legit team of grown people with experience to make it go the way you want, or it will fall apart. And I experienced that in one business. So now that I have all these real estate doors and all these properties everywhere, and we're doing jobs all over the country, and I'm about to do a supplement line called Fierce, it's just a matter of time that if I don't get some extra additional help, making sure that we're following the policies and procedures and the structures to meet our goals, like in EOS's case, I have quarterly rocks, to make sure we stay on track with what it's going to take to grow the businesses. And so for me, even to this day, I'm reading these books and I'm using these systems that I also paid for years ago. In fact, Gino's book Traction, if I'm not mistaken, is almost a baby between E-Myth and all of Patrick Lencioni's stuff, kind of just put together. And Gino put it together in an incredible way, did a great job. And I think EOS is a great system.
So what causes you to wear suits everywhere you go?
Honestly, it's just because I like it. That's it. I love it. When I was a little boy,
because again, that's what I used to do.
When I thought
it was freaking. If you didn't have freaking, pocket square and a suit on, you weren't macking.
No, it's not even about macking. It's about what makes me feel good. And I go through phases too. I go through black t-shirt phases. I go through suits. It just depends what I'm in the mood for. When I was a little kid, I will say, I used to always say I want to be a businessman one day. And the only thing that meant to me is I must have saw a guy that looked really good in a suit, get in a cool car and drive away. But I don't think the suit makes a man at all. I think the man makes a suit. There's a such thing as a blue suit, and then there's a man in a blue suit. The man makes the suit scream, not the suit.
Hey, I would argue with your Walmart t-shirt. I would say go buy a Giorgio Armani. I always wear black V-necks, and I'm getting to the point where it's like, now you'll always see this is only because I was out of mine, because I went and bought 20 of them. But there's two. I really liked Tom Ford for a long time, black V-neck Tom Fords. But now I found Giorgio Armani, black. I don't know what the hell's about them, but dude, you go put one of those on, I'll bet you 50. That's your new shirt.
Man, you know what? It's funny you say that. So last time, well, no, not last time, but maybe 2 times ago, that was at Andrew's house. We were talking. He was getting ready for we were about to go eat dinner somewhere, and he put on one of his black t-shirts, and it was an Armani. And I was like, yeah, that looks cool. He's like, bro, come here. And he gave me 10 of them out of his closet. And they're still in my closet. I just need to try one of them on.
Dude, I'm telling you, they're the best.
Yeah, they look silky. They kind of have a sheen to them.
They're like, dude, they're the best, bro. They're the best. And dude, I ain't a big label guy. I ain't buying them because they're.
Well, there's no label on them.
If they were Walmart, I'd go get them. Right. No, there's no signage on them. There's just a tag.
Just a tag in the back, the little square tag. Yeah,
trust me, dude.
I have 10 of them.
You get that bitch on, you're gonna go. Because especially if you're a jack, like when you're in shape. Yeah. Like I'm barely in shape, and it makes me look like I'm in shape.
Yeah. It's like yoga pants for a guy.
It is, dude. Yeah. And I'm telling you, like I literally bought 20 of them, and that's all I wear now. But what's funny is you still will run out.
Oh yeah, I get it.
I'm out right now. That's why I'm wearing this fucking whatever this is.
Yeah.
But anyway, dude, so like I'm going to keep following you. I want everybody to go follow Justin at Justin Windwaller 7. And by the way, like go join the school. Where do they join that?
Message me on Instagram, Justin Windwaller 7, Justin Win WIN Waller WALLER 7, and also join the daily newsletter. Yeah, JustinWinWaller.com. Messages.
Go subscribe. What can the Bomb Squad do for you?
You guys do, bro. You've already done it, man. You brought me on your show twice. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. You brought me on when I wasn't even Big yet. So it means the world to me, Brad. Truly. Thank you.
Well, my pleasure. But these guys did it. It wasn't me. I just bring good people in front of the bomb squad, brother.
Whatever makes sense, man.
Anything they can do for you?
Nope. Just go follow me on IG.
Go buy some hardworking people a beer.
I'd love that. Look, if you can do something for somebody that works with their hands today, please do it and tag me on Instagram. It'd mean the world to me.
Do it, tag him, tag me, and tell the gentleman that,
thanks for everything you do. You make the world go round.
There you go. Yeah. All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming in. Anytime you want to come in, dude, you're always welcome. Oh, and by the way, get your boy Tate. I'm gonna talk. And by the way, both of them. See, I was a fan of fucking Tristan before anybody. Why? It was Andrew, and I'm like, freaking, dude, Tristan's a badass.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Tristan, because Andrew gets credit for it, Tristan is the most underrated man in the world. You want to talk about being impressed by somebody? Talk history with Tristan for an hour. Unreal. Well,
I was looking at those guys, like I said, back before they really blew up, and I was like, dude, I definitely want to interview Andrew, but Tristan too, like freaking dude's a freaking stud too. Oh, dude. All right, well, folks, as always, till next time, keep it real.